7 tips and tricks for you to create awesome hip hop. It's gonna be great.
Number 1. Experiment with the BPM. It seems like an obvious one, but often I find myself just sticking to the original BPM that I started the project out with, and sometimes it does wonders to the groove and flow of the whole thing if midway through I just decide to switch it up a little bit. Whenever you get used to a new BPM, in this case like a slower BPM, it's funny to see how the original BPM suddenly might seem really fast. That's kind of a funny thing about the brain. Number 2, swing and off positioning. Try to look for a swing function in your DAW. And what swing does is it applies off positioning to your normally perfectly snapped basics like your kick, your hi-hat and your snare. And this allows for nice grooves. It can make the whole sequence seem more organic. It can deliver, it can emphasize the rhythm of your whole thing. So definitely look for the swing option. If the swing isn't working for you, or if you don't like the groove it delivers, it can help to manually off position your sounds a bit. Sometimes I do it with certain sounds, and other sounds I keep snapped on the perfect grid, so to say. And yeah, this can definitely help your project. Number 3, volumes. If you're looking for an organic or vintage feel to your hip hop beat, it helps to deviate the volumes from, for example, your snare loop. See it like this: a drummer doesn't have the same volume output when he hits the snare the whole time, so naturally there's going to be a little bit of deviation, and it can definitely improve your project if you take that in account and just deviate the volumes a little bit, just to make it a bit more organic. Number 4, natural reverbs. If, again, you're looking for that organic or vintage kind of feel to your beat, it helps to look for natural reverbs. And in this specific project, I am working with the Sanford Reverb, and this is an interesting tool because it has a lot of interesting presets like small rooms, large rooms, and even like a cathedral kind of sound. So you can achieve all sorts of reverbs with this tool, and it has a good kind of tone to it, so I definitely enjoy this tool, and it can do wonders for your project to reverb it the right way. For this specific tool, if you want to get this, it's again a free VST, so check the description below. And we also have an interesting article regarding the basics of reverb on our blog, so if you want to check that one out, also check the description below. Number 5, ambience. And what I mean by ambience is enriching your project with maybe even barely noticeable layers that just spice up the whole thing. And it could be stuff like vinyl crackling, it can be the sampling of city sounds, nature sounds even, or it could be by rendering a part of your song as a wave, import it back, and then approach the filtering differently and let it harmonize with your whole track. Maybe even in a different on a different pitch, maybe pan it differently. Those are all kind of layers that warm up the whole production, and I feel like that will ultimately make the difference for a project, just to have a rich kind of listening experience. So yeah, ambience is definitely a plus. Number 6, building and destroying. And honestly, this concept for me is maybe even the most important point of this whole tips and tricks tutorial. And what I mean by building and destroying is we have a tendency to keep building, and we just add sounds, and we work on different sections, and we add sounds there. But it really helps to sometimes just take your time with it and just start to mute elements, because you might find that sometimes certain elements kind of aren't needed, and if you mute them, it opens up windows for other possibilities as well. So building and destroying is a very strong concept, and if you don't apply it already, I suggest to try it out and just try and work with that, because at least for me, it helped me a great deal to realize that instead of just keep on building, sometimes you just need to destroy. And the final one, number 7, sampling. And this goes especially for hip hop. If you start to listen to stuff all around you with a double ear, so normal listening, but also analytically, you will find that stuff around you has so much potential musically, and to integrate that in your projects can do wonders for it. You can sample like sounds from your environment, or maybe even from vintage records or stuff like that. And that is where hip hop started anyway. It originated from the whole concept of sampling and creating new stuff from old stuff. So this is definitely worth trying out if you aren't doing it already. And you could even like take a sound from an old project and apply it to something brand new, just rip it out of context, or apply it to a newer project and just see what happens. This can definitely create like interesting dynamics and interesting projects. So yeah, that was it for these tips and tricks. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you did, make sure to subscribe and maybe even leave a comment below. I hope to see you guys next time, and cheers for tuning in. Peace.